Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever part of the world you're tuned in from. This is Funny Like a Clown podcast. I'm your host, Dennis Wirth. And I know it's been a while since I did a podcast, and I've been taking care of my mom. And I don't even know what the date is today, but let's see. We're in April. I know that because Easter just went by. So we're somewhere in April giving you this podcast. We do comedy here. This is episode 187, and we are going to be discussing comedian Jim Norton, a guy who does dirty comedy, and I respect him for that because I've seen him perform, and he said, everybody, you got to work clean, you got to work clean, you got to work clean. Some of us like dirty comedy, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. And I remember as a kid just listening to the old Sam Kinison and Eddie Murphy cassette tapes, and you'd have to turn the stereo down low so your parents didn't hear what you were listening to, and you have to laugh into a pillow so they didn't hear you cracking up at the dirty jokes, and that molds you into a person that you are, and that's what it does. As always, and I'm usually talking about it, and today I'm showing you the new professional bottles that we have in G Vegas buffalo sauce, baby. Take a look at that. That is our sponsor of the podcast, the official buffalo sauce of Joke in the Box Comedy Club. Go to www.jokeinthebox.org. Get some shipped right to your door. Free shipping on this stuff. And let me tell you, this is the stuff right here, baby, okay? All right, let's get into it, baby. Jim Norton, man, comedian, actor, radio, and podcast host. UFC Unfiltered podcast, which I know, Joe Rogan, that Ultimate Fighting Championship, that was a big thing. I can't say, I've seen like highlights of it, but I can't say I've ever watched one. But man, it's big where you just get in the ring and you kick the tar out of each other. It's not like boxing where there's 100 times. There are rules, but there's much less rules than you would have in unboxing. It's pretty much, almost anything goes, Let's see. Jim Norton Can't Save You, host of the Opie and Anthony show. Now, it used to be Opie and Anthony. Now it is Opie with Jim Norton. And Anthony, he had his incident there and got taken off the show, but Jim took his place. And, I'm a Boston guy. I tell you, Opie and Anthony, they started on a local radio station here in Boston, man. They went worldwide. And I know Jim was a guest a bunch of times, and I guess they must have liked him because they brought him in as a full-time host. And I guess Anthony's got a podcast now. I guess he had been setting up in his basement, I guess, a podcast, professional studio for years. And when he got booted from the show, like, what are we going to do? Like, dude, you've been setting up for years, man. Let's do the podcast. And I'm sure he's doing just fine doing that. And I know Opie and Anthony on Sirius now, same as Howard, because you can't tell a dirty joke on regular radio, man. Everybody's got to go to Sirius again. You got to pay to hear what you love to hear now. Not like the olden days where most of it was free. Even TV, back in the day, put a couple antennas on your TV, you could watch whatever you want on TV. Now you got to pay. You got to pay for everything. Let's see. Plus, he also has Jim Norton and Sam Roberts is also on Sirius XM satellite radio, and he does the Chip Chipper podcast where he plays a character that's very popular, Chip Chipper. Let's see. Started stand up in 1990, which a couple years after I graduated. I graduated in '88, so hey. A couple years after I graduated, this guy was doing stand-up comedy already, which I wish I did. I always wanted to try stand-up comedy since I was a kid. I never knew how to get started, and it was like, you don't put in a job application, how do you become a comic? So it was a much longer road, but man, once I hit it, I was, this is what I wanted to do. There was no stopping once I started. Let's see. He had an appearance on the Louis Show. Louis C.K. had his own TV show. It was very popular back in the day before he had his issues where... like to masturbate in front of people, which, he did ask permission, so, I guess, there's worse things you can do in life. Let's see, this is where I caught on to the guy. He caught the attention of Andrew Dice Clay back in the day. In 1997, he had Jim open for him, doing shows, and, I remember when Dice was, Dice rose to the top. He was doing stadiums. Then he took a step, his popularity died down. Plus, he took a step back because he wanted to raise his sons. So he wasn't as popular where he still did shows, but he was at the bottom of his popularity. He actually did a 99 Steakhouse, okay, which was in Andover, Massachusetts. Okay, now there's a guy playing a small, steakhouse, going from stadiums to a steakhouse. But I did go see him at the steakhouse, and this was in the '90s, and I remember Jim opened for him, and he was raw. He was a very young, raw comic comic at that point, and I remember after the show, he kind of came from backstage. He was getting a drink at the bar, and I kind of passed him, and I said, "Hey, great set." And he kind of like, "Thank you, thank you." It's like he would appreciate me thanking, but he really didn't want to, interact with people at that point. He kind of just wanted his beer and get the heck out of there. But I mean, little did I know he'd go on to be the big star that he was. Now, or I would have been. Well, I'd have tried to get a picture with him, but if I did that, everybody else was probably going to want a picture too. So I did that once. I was in the green room with Jerry Seinfeld, and I wanted a picture with Jerry Seinfeld so freaking bad, but I had to be professional. I was there working on the show, so if I asked for it, everybody else in the green room was going to want one too, so I couldn't start it. But that's the gig right there. So I did see him when he was a young rock comic before he became popular. He was on his way up. So I can always say that about Jim Norton, that it's always cool when you see somebody before they were popular. After you're popular, then everybody goes see him. Let's see. He was the third mic on the Opie and Anthony show in 2001, so I guess it was the three of them for a little while. And then he had the reoccurring, role on Lucky Louie, and he was a panelist on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn. And I know that was a big underground show, man. I mean, it was big, but it was like an underground where like it was one of those you tuned in to watch, and you thought you were the only one watching it. It was your little secret, but little do you know everybody else was watching it too. He did 4 albums, which they're a lost art, man. Nowadays you don't make any money in albums, but you put them out. Back in the day, you make an album and you can make some money on them. Now they're more of a promotional piece. You put out an album to get people interested in you for free, and then they come see you at your show. 7 specials, which I mean, you got 7 specials on major networks. That's somebody's noticing you. Got 1 Netflix special, which that's every comic's dream right there, is to get a Netflix special. That's when you know you made it, when Netflix wants you to do a special. Used to be back in the day, if you were on late night with, Johnny Carson, that was the big thing. Then, you did the Joe Rogan podcast, that was the big thing. Then it was Comedy Central was the big thing. Well, now Netflix is the big one for comedians. Everybody wants the Netflix special. 3 specials on Epics. And let's see, Jim Norton Talk Show on Vice. He has 2 books, Happy Endings and The Tales of a Mentally Rested Zillion. Whatever the hell that is. And I Hate Your Guts, which I can relate to that one. I always say, man, I hate everybody. I mumble that all the time. Just across the board. I ain't going to, just across the board. I hate everybody. No, I don't really hate everybody, but you have those moods, where you have your good days and bad days, just like anybody else. Let's see, he was born in Bayonne, New Jersey, so he's a Jersey guy, which they don't pay me, but I had a Jersey Mike sub the other day. Let me tell you, mwah! Okay, there's your free promotion, Jersey Mike's right there. If I want, I gotta tell you, if you're from Jersey, you know a good sub apparently. Mom was a librarian, Dad was a U.S. Marine. Dropped out of high school as a senior. Yeah, I noticed a lot of comedians do drop out of high school. I don't know, maybe I guess your head's got to be messed up to try this crazy business. So I guess you drop out of high school. That kind of shows. I remember my freaking math teacher, man. I hated Mr. Fanaki. If you're watching this, I got something to say to you. But anyway, he always told me you're not going to get anywhere in life by being the class clown, Dennis. Well, now I'm a professional comedian, so kiss my ass, Mr. Fanaki. So he dropped out of high school. At 13, he started drinking heavily. Of course, 13's a young age. I don't even know how you get booze at that age, man. Somebody's buying it for you. Apparently, maybe I don't know, you swipe it. I don't know how you drink at 13, but you got to be 21 to buy. But somebody's buying for him, obviously. Started cutting himself with razors to seek attention, which that's a serious thing, I know, but a buddy of mine had a daughter who did that, and I mean, that's what they do, I remember I went to high school with a kid, and everybody else was dressed in stuff from the day, and his parents always made him dress in clothes from the 70s, and it's like, once you become an adult, then you want to live the childhood you never had. I know I always wanted long hair. My father made me have short hair, hated him. I got old enough, I grew it down to my ass. I had long hair. I was like, I went through the stage, I got out of my system, then did go back. But if you're not allowed to live your childhood, which he obviously wasn't, then you do things to seek attention and try to live your childhood as an adult. And when I was a kid, I didn't have much growing up. My dad, he really didn't work much or provide us with nice things. And once I became an adult, I overworked. I worked twice as many hours as I should have been working. And I bought everything I needed plus everything I never had as a kid. And now I got as you can see behind me, I got a room full of stuff. I got a house full of stuff. But that's what you do, man. They say your childhood, sets who you are in life. That's the start you get, and you follow through with it, I guess. His parents checked him into a rehab, but he did eventually complete the course, which is, if you're in there, man, then that's the support you need. It's getting people to go. That's the tough part. My best friend was an alcoholic, and man, you could see he went to AA, after AA, he went to rehab a few times, and just finally he was out of fight. I ain't going back to rehab. I don't care. That's a mean disease. It really is. So hey, hats off to him if he beat it, man. I know it's a tough one to beat. I got a food addiction, man. I'm addicted to food. I've got on a program now where I've said before I'm going to stick with this, but hopefully I'm going to stick with it this time. And I know what it's like to fall off the wagon. I'll tell you, sugars isn't an addictive drug as alcohol or any other drug. I'll tell you right now. But hey, good for him. He got clean. He got sober. He's drug free since 1985. He was voted the class clown while in rehab, and I guess they say, you got to find something. I know Alice Cooper was an alcoholic, and he had to find something. He turned to golf, okay? You got to find something to replace that addiction, where Alice Cooper, he gave up the alcohol. Whenever he gets stressed, he goes to golf. And that was me with comedy. It was kind of, I got to give up the food for comedy, Then I had to take care of my mother, as I mentioned. I gave up the food because I got to take care of Mom. I knew she needed me to be here. I had a heart attack and died. I don't know what I had to woman. So you got to find something in your life to replace alcohol. What Jim found to replace alcohol in his life was sex. He turned into a sex addict, so I guess. But, if you're going to be an alcoholic, addicted to alcohol, addicted to sex, I guess sex has got to be the better route, I'm not trying to make light of it. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble, you're not in a monogamous relationship, you're looking for diseases, you hurt people who love you, and that can't be, that can't be an easy one either, but you're always looking for something to fill the void in life, and, you get rid of one thing and you pick up another. After he got sober, he did go back and get his GED. Here's one I did not know about him. He actually went to college to try to be a lawyer, but he quit after 1 month. Apparently, I can't imagine Jim Norton, a lawyer. I can't. It's like, for the guy he is now, just picturing him a lawyer, that would have been a whole different life he would have led had he gone on to do that. So. Let's see. He got fired a lot from jobs that he had. I guess he couldn't hold a steady job, but he did comedy while he was collecting unemployment one time. Then he did it so much he decided to pursue it as a full-time gig rather than a part-time gig, which that's not easy, I'll tell you, which especially working dirty. I've always, you hear this from every comedian. What's the trick to being a paid comic? You got to work clean. And, we all grew up laughing at the dirty comics. None of us want to work clean. But if you're doing the local shows, you want to get a paycheck, you got to work clean. That's the tough part. If you're the smart comic, you get like 45 minutes clean material and 45 minutes of dirty. That way you can work either way. So that's the smart move to do right there. After he decided to go full-time, he had wanted to try it since 12, which I can relate to that totally. I wanted to try comedy since I was a little freaking kid, man, and I wish I had got started earlier than I did, but never had a break come my way where I could do it. My father was not supportive at all. He raced horses. He wanted me to race horses, which I don't want to race horses. You can say your love in life don't mean it's mine. My love's comedy, but he didn't care. He wanted, he failed at his life, so he wanted to live a second life through me, through the horses, and so, hey, that didn't work out. You help your kids do what they want to do, man. Don't make them do what you want to do. That ain't going to work out, I'll tell you. Let's see. His mom brought home comedy albums from work, okay? She worked at a library. You can check out like free comedy on it. He said his influences were Pryor, Carlin, Woody Allen, and Robert Klein, which those were a lot of our influences back in the day. I remember seeing Richard Pryor in Superman, and it was like the Superman movie. It was like, wow, a comic and being a superhero movie, it was the coolest thing, which I got, I'm a comic, I got my own superhero movie out, the world needs a new superhero, so check that out on Tubi, and I get paid a little royalty for every time somebody watches it, so, once you watch it, you can make a little money from me, or buy some G Vegas Buffalo sauce, and support the podcast if you're enjoying what I'm doing here, because I'll tell you, we are exploring the history of comedy. I'm trying to give you the information, man. Let's see, Jim Norton did his first open mic at a New Jersey pub at age 21. He worked on his act on the East Coast mostly. He had self-deprecating humor, which they teach you that in comedy. Don't make fun of other people. You can offend them. You make fun of yourself, okay? They make people laugh at you, then nobody can get offended at you, and you're not going to get offended at yourself. Like I said, big break came in 1997 when Dice noticed him, and he got him on the Louis show. Louis caught notice to him, too. And, those are the dreams you dream about, or those are breaks you dream about as a comic. Another famous comic notices you and gives you your break in comedy, because you can only go so far before somebody will notice you, Let's see. He did the Yellow Discipline tour, did comedy albums, Yellow Discipline, let's see, Trinkets, Own Made from Gorilla Hands, Trinkets Own Made from Gorilla Hands, okay. Hey, who am I to judge what he named album, all right? Did his first half-hour comedy special on HBO, which was a half-hour comedy special on HBO, One Night Stand. And I remember Comedy Central, they had the old HBO, half-hour, and they'd run them all weekend, one after another. I'd sit home all weekend, just watch one after another. I couldn't watch enough of stand-up. I loved watching it, loved the art form. Love seeing different people's styles and just learning from it, I guess. And I can say in the end, I learned a lot from watching all that, being a comedian. Let's see. He started a routine radio dry comedy night in New York. And that's when, you got your place. You got your one gig where they got open mics and they do them once a week, and you go every single week. And man, mic time. That's what makes you a better comic. In New York, a lot of comedy going on in New York. Let's see. HBO show Down and Dirty. He had his own special. I remember that, where he brought on some, that was, Bill Burr was on that back before he was too popular. Artie Lang. I mean, he had some great comics on there. Dice did one of them, I remember. Yeah. And he had Lemmy. You remember Lemmy from Motorhead? Yeah, he was like the house musician. I do remember that, too. And I still got those on VHS tape. I recorded those somewhere, but I imagine you can watch them on YouTube now. The old VHSs, everything's on YouTube, so everybody can go look at them now. But they're worth watching, man. I'd say go check them out, yeah. Amy Schumer was one of his openers early on. I did not know that Amy Schumer was one of Jim Norton's openers, so shows you, Dice helped Jim Norton come along, Jim helped Amy Schumer come along. It's you pass back, you pay forward right there. I always remember I did a local TV show, and Tom Cotter, who was he went the furthest on America's Got Talent than any other comic. He was gracious enough to come do my show, which he didn't forget where he came from, which he's doing bigger stuff than my tiny local TV show, so that was cool. He didn't, Tom didn't forget where he came from. Let's see, after Netflix, he started on his first nationwide tour as a headliner. Okay, so like I said, he had toured with Dice as an opener, but you're going to be a headliner on a nationwide tour, that's talking. 2017 did his first Europe tour. Got his first Netflix series, which, forget specials, this guy's got a series he's doing now on Netflix. Oh, we could only hope as a comic. We could only hope somebody'd give you the break, right? He did a radio promotion, a topless bus tour driving through the city. That's got to get some attention. I remember they said Houdini. He was the master of promotion, okay? he'd book a show in town, then like before the show, like a week before, he'd go like hang himself from like a skyscraper or something. All the newspapers would be, what's going on? And it was just a stunt, but he gets so much promotion from doing the stunt, everybody go see his show. They always said he was the master of promotion doing stuff like that. And, here's Jim Norton doing the same thing with the Topless Bus Tour, man, getting some attention for himself to promote his tour. Let's see, he was arrested with Lewis Black because the police didn't like him doing the Topless Tour. And the same route used by President Clinton. So I guess they decided to do, President Clinton at the time was in town and he was doing a route, and they decided, I don't know if they knew or not, but they were doing the Topless Tour on the same route as Clinton, and you start messing with the president, they start coming for you. But he's had over a 20-year run on XM satellite radio, which, I mean, that's a heck of a career right there, man, I'll tell you. It ended in a contract dispute, and I remember Jackie the Joke Man, I had him on my TV show, and that's what cost him his spot on the Howard Stern show. It's like, and it's like I said, any other comic would have been flattered with the contract they offered him, but he's not any other comic. He's on the #1 radio show. Here's Jim Norton, 20 years on satellite radio. You're going to want more, and they're going to negotiate, and it don't always go well. That's how negotiations end. They either get rich or you get shit canned, one of the two. But he started an online fundraiser to produce the Chipper animated web series. He raised $61,000, so that's when you know you're a popular comic, when you can set out like a GoFundMe or something, and people will donate $61,000 to get your cartoon going. That's I remember I had a guy, I forget his name, he was a Robin Williams impersonator, and he was saying he wanted to make a movie about being Robin, and he said, I'm not going to pay for it, the people are. He was taking donations, and sure, it took them longer than Jim Norton, he wasn't popular, but he did eventually make the movie, so I don't know. I am interested in seeing it, but let's see, 2004, Jim Norton lost a spot on Last Comic Standing because of a contract with MTV, which, you see Last Comic Standing, come to find out you stand on those long lines, and they only do that for promotion. It's like most of the comics that are on it, they have agents and they have contracts to get them on the show. They don't have to stand in line on all the popular comics. So you think he got a chance when you really have little to no chance. The comics are already, on that show through agents, but it's a big promotional thing, and all these people stand in line thinking you're going to make, Last Comic Standing, which you're probably not. Let's see. He was on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, HBO Lucky Louie. He was on the Gong Show, which Dave Attell brought back for a little time. I remember Ron White was on there. I watched it, but it didn't come back for long on Comedy Central, but he was on there. Let's see. He was on Red Eye Fox News, 2014. Started a talk show, The Jim Norton Show. I didn't know this one. He did a cameo in 2022 in Spider-Man, which I almost do think I remember it now. It's like, I forgot it, but I kind of remember it. I remember at the time thinking, hey, that's Jim Norton. I know him. Then it's like, I forgot about it. Now it's coming back to me doing the podcast here. But he was in The Irishman as a young Don Rickles, and I did see The Irishman. That was a good movie. Martin Scorsese, you can't go wrong there, baby. He tells jokes to Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. I mean, you're working with names like that, baby. You've hit the big time, let me tell you. Let's see. He's close friends with Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne. Rest in peace, Ozzy. But very close friends with them. And he's a big supporter of transgender people. 2023, he announced on radio that he married a Norwegian transsexual woman webcam model named Nikki. So that's Jim Norton's career in a nutshell right there. Yeah, go check this guy out, I'll tell you, because like I said, I'll always feel honored. I got to see him at a 99 Steakhouse, this little steakhouse this guy's playing before he was popular. And I know that happened. I know Bill Burr, there's John Perrotta. He books comedy down in Rhode Island. And he took a young Bill Burr one night and gave him $20. He's like, hey, you host the show, I'll give you $20. I'll give you some gas money. And years later, Bill Burr became a big star. He was in town, calls up John Perrotta, hey, you want to come open for me at this major venue? And again, he didn't forget where he came from, so that was cool, So I got that one in the books. I saw Jim Norton as a young rock comedian before he became popular, so that's a cool one. Who have you seen? Did you see anybody? You ever brush, leave it in the comments. You ever brush with somebody, famous before they were famous, then years later, like, oh my God, I brushed with him before he was famous. It's a cool feeling. And hey, comedy, that's what we do, folks. Don't forget to get some G Vegas Buffalo sauce again. Support the podcast. If I touched you with what I did here today, bringing the information on Jim Norton, then go to www.jokeinthebox.org. Go green, go fresh. Get it shipped to your door. You support me, I'll support you. Till then, keep laughing. Tell somebody a joke and make them laugh, because it's easy to bring people down. It's not so easy to bring them up. And laughter is the best medicine. Tell somebody a joke today. You make them laugh. They're going to tell somebody else a joke and make them laugh. They're going to tell somebody else a joke. Chain reaction. It's going to keep going. You spread laughter throughout the world. Good night, folks.